Hi friends, it's Steve Bartholomew here with another PRSD tech tip. And this one will be about the inSwan camera and all the items you'll be getting with it. First off, we have the Ethernet cable, and that would allow you to connect to an Ethernet port in your room. Certainly you can use Wi-Fi, but Ethernet's much more reliable. If you don't have an Ethernet port on your computer, you might be able to use the adapter I'm about to show you, because that allows you to connect using an Ethernet port if you have a USB Type-C connection. So here is the adapter, and as you can see, the end is a USB Type-C that you'd be able to plug into either your Chromebook, or maybe even if you want to try it, you could try plugging it into a phone. The other part of this adapter, you can see there's an Ethernet cable, and when you get it, there will be a sticker over that port that will say, Mac, you need to download a driver in order to get the Ethernet cable to work, specifically with this adapter on a Mac. You also have an HDMI port, a VGA port, and most importantly, the USB 3.0 port, and that's the one we're going to be using today. The other thing you get is a USB extension. So if you want to move your inSwan camera around, you can actually do it. As a matter of fact, in making this video, I took almost like a selfie with it, using it as essentially a selfie stick. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to use the extension if you put it in the correct way, and you just place it in, and then you have a few extra feet to work with this cord here, and that will plug right into the adapter that I had previously shown you. So for this video, I'm not actually going to use the Ethernet, this green Ethernet cord, because I have a blue one that I will pull out right here, and that one's connected to the network here at the school. So this is the one I'll be plugging into the black Cable Matters adapter. But before we do that, we have this another extension for the actual inSwan camera that you would connect to the camera itself, and it's if you wanted to use a microscope or maybe even a camera, and you could just put the camera, the inSwan camera that is, right up on it. So you can see the two little holes that it would click into, and after you place it in there, you'll hear the click, and then you could place it right onto something and it will view right down into it. So a pretty cool feature. It comes on and off very easily. So for sort of an overview of the camera itself, you can see it connects with a regular USB connector. On the top of the camera right here, we have the autofocus button. You'd use the autofocus button if the image or video that you're capturing is blurry. Next, we have the brighten button and the dim button. And if we turn over the camera, we can see the light right there. And in this example, I'm going to show you, here I am turning on the light just by pressing the button. And when I point the document camera at the image, it's a little washed out. And you can see it's just way too bright. So what I'm going to do is click the dim button a few times, and that will bring down the amount of light so you can clearly see what you're capturing. Back to the camera, those right there are the microphone, and it's really nice because the closer you are to the camera, which is right at the bottom there, the easier it's going to be for people to be able to hear you. Another neat little feature of this camera is if you hit the brighten and dim button at the same time, it will invert your view. So I wanted to share this through an example. So I'm going to click both the dim and brighten buttons at the same time, and it inverts the image. Once again, I can click them again, and the image is back to being the way it was. So if you find yourself in an upside down world, just click both the brighten and dim buttons at the same time. And one last thing before we get into setup, when you're using the camera in Google Meet, it looks like things are backwards. That's because it's in my point of view, but when it's broadcast out to people, they will see it the right way. All right, now that's covered, moving on to setup. If you wanted to set this up on a desktop, you don't need the adapter. You do want to make sure your Ethernet is plugged in if at all possible, and you'll be able to see the light should come on, indicating that it's connected. And then you can take the USB from the inSwan camera and find the place where you can put it in. It should have a USB symbol. There's a couple right there, and then two more above it. Plug it in. And if you wanted to, you can plug it in on the front if your desktop has that. I'm going to unplug the network cable here just because when I move it, it won't tear everything down. But you can see the 4 ports here in the front, so I could plug in the inSwan camera there and it would work just after plugging it in. Of course, you have to plug it in the right way, and then you're good to go. Showing how to set this up using the adapter, I'm going to use my Chromebook as an example because it has a USB-C port. So if you've been broadcasting without any problems or anything like that, and you have a USB on your computer, might as well just plug it directly into the computer. I would use the adapter if you have a problem with reliable internet though. That's plugging in. I'm now going to plug in my Ethernet cable so that I have that good reliable internet, and it's going to be steady all the way through. And then I'm just going to take my USB Type-C and plug it right into my Chromebook. You don't have to do anything additional. It will automatically recognize it, and if you want to check your internet, you can see if the lights are blinking on the Ethernet port. If they are, you have internet. So now we're going to open up Google Chrome, and we're going to go to Google Meet. And so to change from the built-in camera on the laptop to the document camera, the inSwan, you're going to have to go to the top right of the image in Google Meet. Right there, more options. If you click on that, it will bring up settings. So if you head over to settings, it'll probably bring you initially to audio. So you want to make sure your audio is on the document camera right there. And this is really one of the coolest aspects of this camera because you have the light and the microphone right there, right near the lens. So when you are broadcasting out, it's going to be easy for people to see you and to hear you. Speaking of seeing, let's open up those settings again, and it will be on video this time. Make sure that your video is on the document camera as well if that's what you want to use. But as I'm about to show you, you can always go back to the regular camera. I'm putting the anti-glare paper down on top of this book so that you can kind of see it better. They include that in there. But you can see right now it looks like it's backwards. It's not going to be backwards to everybody else. It just looks backwards to us. I also want to point out that I haven't installed anything special. This is just the base thing on the computer. I'm not doing anything special. It's just plugging it in. And during a meeting, you can switch the camera. I just go back to those settings, or more options I should say, and then settings is down there at the bottom, and you go to video and change your source. So right now it's on the document camera. I change it to the front camera and it will change, and there you are. Bye bye.